This is Sophie Heller, and this is an ACT English punctuation question. We see here that we have various choices of punctuation to go between communism and they. So let's look at the sentence to see what kind of punctuation we need. So the sentence says, because of the threat of communism, they fled their homes in 1954. So this is these fishermen from Vietnam and settled in South Vietnam. And then it goes on to tell us about the Vietnam War. But let's focus just on the underlined portion. So the underlined portion wants us to connect this modifier. So this because of the threat of communism, this is a clause that's telling us why they fled their homes to the fishermen. So let's look at the answer choices to see which punctuation will be most appropriate. So we see here with choice number 1 that there's nothing in between here. But that won't be good because it says because of the threat of communism, they fled their homes. We need something to connect this modifying clause, this because of the threat of communism, to they, and the sentence won't flow right if there's no pause here. There's no comma to separate this clause. So choice number 1 is not going to be good. The following 3 choices all use punctuation. Choice 2 a semicolon, and choices 3 and 4 a comma. So let's look at those. Choice number 2 uses a semicolon, but let's remember that a semicolon can only be used to connect 2 things that can stand alone, like 2 separate sentences. It can be connected by the semicolon here. So we want to make sure that if we use a semicolon, that the first side is a sentence that can stand alone, and so is the second side. So were we to put a semicolon here, it would say, because of the threat of communism. Because of the threat of communism is not a full sentence, it's a sentence fragment. It can't stand alone. So we can't be using this semicolon here. It'll create a fragment issue. So that's not good. So let's look at our last 2 choices. They're pretty much the same, except choice 4 introduces this and here, and choice 3 just has comma they. So let's see what happens when we have this and. When we have the and on the other side of the sentence, it'll say, comma, and they fled their homes in 1954 and settled in South Vietnam. So this is weird because it'll create, if you read the full first part of the sentence, it'll say, because of the threat of communism and they fled their homes in 1954 and settled in South Vietnam, semicolon. So this side of the semicolon phrase will not be a full sentence. It won't be a standalone phrase. So that's not good to have that and there. It's creating a fragment. We can't use semicolons with fragments. So that's not good. Choice number 3 is good because it avoids the fragment issue, and it correctly introduces this pause to set apart that because of the threat of communism, that clause that describes why they're fleeing their homes. So choice 3 is going to be our best answer. It's right.